Live from Dover comes the next round of the SRA Gen 4 Championship. We've been going all over the US to plenty of large speedways, but we're taking our trip down to the Monster Mile here in Dover for what's going to be a uniquely challenging track on the high banks. I love this place, and you'll quickly come to love it as well, and hopefully the drivers will become to love it in a way that keeps them out of the walls. I'm Howie Burrows, as ever, joined by Lucas Moody here on the side. And Lucas, you're not terribly familiar with running around this place, but it is quite unlike anything else we've run so far.
Yeah, we haven't had, these kind of like shorter track feeling. I'm not going to call it a full-on short track because, obviously it's not as small as Bristol or Martinsville or tracks like that. It is a full-length mile, the Monster Mile as it's been nicknamed, but it is still pretty small. And look at that banking. And you can see it's the concrete, I believe it's concrete, not asphalt. You can correct me if I'm wrong, that absolutely just eats at the tires. So these Gen 4 drivers here in the SRA are going to have to be very, very careful on their rubber if they don't want to be flying into the walls and have their tires just completely shredded by the end of their stint.
First week on the new Gen 4 draft model, we're probably not going to get to see too much of the new draft in action. This is hardly a very drafty track on its own, but you're very right on that concrete edge, and it's the transitions in and out of the turns that are the most brutal here as you go from the edges and then it flattens out still while you're at high speed. It's one of the hardest transitions out there. Well, the Monster's claimed one car already on his hand right up there, and he might just be ready to claim many, many, many more on the way. We're getting deep into this championship, and the run for Zane Bailey is getting very, very strong. Bailey and Gudger are going to be battling out all the way to the end, but it gets almost unassailable for the rest of the drivers. I think something's happened to add some live points to those midway through the race. So those are slightly ahead of the real points, but the gap is about the same. There's only very small points. I believe the 30-point gap between Zane Bailey and the driver in third.
Yeah, you're perfectly correct there. Zane Bailey is in first with 215. Behind him is Gudger with 207. And 30 points back from Zane Bailey is going to be Paul Witt in that third position in the standings. So Zane Bailey and Michael Gudger, they really have a hold on this championship standings so far. And fourth and fifth is William McKellar, Elliott Kandra, and then I'll make sure it all seems to be correct so far. Thomas Lane Jr., Cody Gibson, John Bawada Jr., perfect. Aaron Raymond and Joshua Burke behind that. And yeah, you can see that it is a, quick math, 24-point gap from second to third place. So Paul Witt, William McKellar, Elliott Kandra, those drivers got a bit of catching up to do if they want to be real contenders for that first spot in this championship.
One lovely job in production is working out how to fix problems that come your way. Those are accurate standings going into this race, and hopefully we didn't leak the script post-race with the rest of that. We do have a starting grid though, and we do have a few drivers that aren't quite as you'd expect on the road. Still a lot of the best drivers up front, but still some of them are going to have to fight their way up on a track that is hard to pass on. So without further ado, we should be able to get the starting grid lined up while the drivers finish their pre-race brief Michael Gudger lines up on pole position next to Cody Gibson. Aaron Raymond's in third, and Zane Baylor, championship leader, can't make it past fourth. Mark Arthur lines up in fifth next to Elliot Kandra in sixth. Kyle Wellman is in seventh next to Thomas Lane Jr. in eighth. Dylan Wilbers is in ninth ahead of Tanner Marr. Paul Witt is 11th next to Noah Swafford. Chris Mackey is 13th next to Larry Bell. Joshua Burke lines up 15th next to Joshua Jenrigan. And only two more to go. Mike Campbell next to William McKenna the fourth, starting near the back, standing instead of qualifying tie alongside John Wilder Jr. Most drivers getting ready to hit the grid. Only a couple more to go as the pre-race briefing gets done. 150 laps around here should be done in about an hour of green flag racing, but this track doesn't like to race clean, race fair, or race green all of the time. And it often gets hot on that concrete track surface that takes it unlike any other. These Gen 4 cars have been a little bit tight on the most recent update. Drivers have non-stop complained about it. But trying to get them through these corners, you're going to have to really not want to burn that right front. Diamond it out properly. There's going to be a lot of unique lines, and a lot of racing is going to be in how people play the long game, I think.
And when you talk about that really awkward transition from the banking onto the straight, in my mind, that just screams oversteer, getting loose on exit and stuff like that. So the fact that it is a tighter setup this week, that might at least help with some of the problems that these drivers could face on corner exit. And, they're going to have a much harder time going into the corner, but at least that drive out of it won't be as bad. And look at that view. That is a beautiful camera angle. Just look at how awkward the banking looks. I mean, it looks like Bristol on steroids from that angle. But it's just really, really interesting. It almost looks like, I don't know if you can see it, Howie, but it's like a curve down in the middle of the track there, right around where that start-finish straight is. And that is just actually an insane angle.
When you first see this track, you might think it reminds you a bit of Bristol, but I'm one of those people that simply does not understand Bristol and completely understands this one. In the old Gen 4, I fell in love with this place because it was just perfectly loose and on edge. You had to really, really, really balance it the whole way around. It's going to be a little bit different here today. I think the new Gen 4 is going to change the dynamics of the cars. You definitely have the wider wheelbase. You get the tighter setups than you usually do around here. And another thing worth noting, this is a league that does, run into cautions from time to time. Look at all of that space that you have to go to when you wreck. And by all of that, I mean none at all. This track absolutely does send you flying back into the race surface. You need to be constantly aware of everything going on around you. Looks as if everybody's ready to get going. Thomas Lane Jr. will be, I think it's Thomas Lane Jr. I'm trying to work out who will be starting from the pit lane there. Looks like it's a 42 to my eyes. It's Kyle Wellman will be starting from the back on the pit lane, and that means we have the rest of our pack. This, I think, is a long run race. You settle in early, and then you slowly build in to your long race. You want to get some moves done early around here, but you're pushing too hard, too far, and you'll be over the edge, and Dover will treat you badly very, very quickly. It's a tough one.
Yeah. And I do have an update, so just really quickly, sorry. The number 6 of Aaron Raymond and the number 40 of Tanner Marr will have an EOL to start this race off. Actually, Tanner Marr is not in this race, so he will be serving that at the next week in Michigan. But Aaron Raymond will be starting from the back of this race.
Pace car pulling in on a very, very, very quick pace car run on this track. Only 20 seconds laps when you're green, and it's all in control of the green flag. And away it goes. Michael Gudger's on the inside. Cody Gibson on the outside. And we pile into turn one. Curious to watch who's taking which line already. Gudger's already willing to work it up a little bit high as he's had a spectacular launch. And he's run away with it. The rest, the more bottom, usually the better on this track. Those running a bit of a lane up in Mark Arthur back there. That might be Thomas Lane Jr., who was just a little bit up. Might find that there's some more pace up there, but it does come at a cost in the long run. But what a runaway from Michael. He's already feels like he's checked out. He's out of here. He wants to get that checkered flag already. It's a long race between now and then, but that is a confidence start.
Yeah, and Zane Bailey looks very, very anxious to get past Cody Gibson here. He doesn't want Gudger to extend that lead too much, because remember, that is the main championship fight between the 64 and between the 20. Zane Bailey's going to want to get past this one car so that he can bring the fight to Michael Gudger and maybe even potentially start battling him for the lead, because only 7 points separate them in the standings currently. If Michael Gudger wins this race and Cody Gibson gets third, I believe that will be Michael Gudger in the lead of the championship by the end of this race. And look at that, Aaron Raymond, who right before he went green, I mentioned he started from the back, has a EOL coming into this race from previous penalties, already up to 12th position. So already up 6 spots from the start of this race, and expect him to be making even more moves as this race continues.
I think I say every week I watch this series that there's something about the way these cars fly around that feels nothing like a next gen. That's no swap and losing up places, washing up a bit wide. That's going to hurt your tyres, and up in front.
Raymond.
That's the 6 and the 14. Raymond and Mackie running into the backs of each other. A lot of little checkups are going to cause little incidents like that throughout the race. I think that's only our first.
Yeah, you could tell Raymond, he had the EOL. He's driving very impatiently, wanting to get to the pack as quickly as possible. And on that occasion, didn't expect the speed that the 14 car was carrying on the exit of the corner, and just simply drove into the back of him and put him into the inside wall. We can see it one more time here. It's Aaron Raymond in the back. It is Chris Mackey in the front. You see, they both get the pass of Noah Swafford, as you mentioned, Howie. And look at this. Aaron Raymond just carries much more speed out of the corner. Doesn't expect the low speed from the 14 and puts them both into the wall. And that's going to be their faster pairs used already.
I don't know if you're seeing this, but I'm already noticing a bit of a bounce, a little bit of a pet out of these cars as they hit that transition out of the bends into the straight. If you didn't spot it, watch for it when these things get high speed around there. That hasn't led to disaster yet. The way people take different speeds out of the turns on this track in order just to try and tame the beast they have under them, I think it's going to be a big point of contention. A few more pit stops than just those that took damage, though. Quite a few, actually. Keep an eye on who that is on our time card. Begins from Noah Swafford all the way down. So quite a few maybe just jumping in for some fuel as well. I doubt you'll be taking tyres 7 laps into a race where your sets are limited enough already. A couple not quite getting their boxes perfectly, but you may want to get some fueling, given this league has gone down to fuel races twice in a row, and I've seen other fuel races won or lost here. Aaron Raymond's first out of the pits, followed by Noah Swafford. Fast repair taken by Aaron Raymond. I don't see it taken by anyone else. I think the other car involved is actually going to keep that fast repair available to them in case it's needed. I think you can see it actually near there. Is that William? Is that Chris Mackey? Yeah, Chris Mackey's just going to sit here and repair as much as he can. He thinks this could get a whole lot worse before this gets a whole lot better.
Yeah, that's really interesting. He doesn't use the fast repair, says, okay, the damage, it's not that long. Let me just have my crew fix it themselves. We don't need to worry about the automatic fix that iRacing can give you. And you're right, yes, save it for later down the race. This is 150 laps around a short track. That is not going to be the only instant that these cars are involved today, and I can guarantee you guys that. So smart move from the 14 to not waste his fast repair 6 laps early into the race. And yeah, if you're back in the field, there's no real risk in stopping for fuel. You just fill up your tank, top it off, and you don't really lose any positions. You don't lose that much track position. And that those extra 6 or 7 laps to fuel can be really beneficial by the end of this race. As you mentioned, a lot of these races this year have come down to the fuel tanks.
4 tyre sets remaining in this race. It's much more than I'd expect for this distance, and I think 1 or 2 drivers may have already taken them. I've seen Joshua Jernigan with a 17-second stop. So maybe with only 2 in this lane, we think there's no way, but I expect to see some interesting tyre strategies play out. Drivers might take a few more than we're expecting. Another thing worth noting, pit entry on this track is one of the hardest on the NASCAR schedule. The pit speed is agonizingly slow, and if you're even a bit over, that whole penalty is sending you back 2, 3, 4 laps. So you don't want to make mistakes entering, you don't want to make mistakes exiting. You pretty much don't want to make mistakes anywhere, but especially here at Dover, I think mistakes are the bane of us all. 2 wide on the restart. Michael Gudger and Gibson placed the same as they were last time. Going into the restart, the green flag flies. And this time, look at that inside lane. Cody Zane Bailey flying behind Michael Gudger. It's Cody Gibson with absolutely no launch. But he does hold up the line as the drivers behind, I think, are just slow getting off.
And I'm just going to double check, and yep, I was correct. I do recall from, just the interviews and speaking with these drivers that the 64 and the 20, they're very close teammates. They're pretty good buddies. And Howie, we talked about it earlier today in the Indy 500 from VOR, but that was definitely some countdown shenanigans. 3, 2, 1, go. And then the 64 and the 20 got off together. They got off the exact same time, and they were to pass Cody Gibson and get instantly into that 1-2 position. So it's good to see, kind of the background scenes, hold the curtain back of how those cars were able to get that launch. And that's definitely what it was on that occasion. And it's crazy because, these two close friends, close teammates, they're also biggest rivals in the championship standings. It's almost like, Piastri versus Norris. They're probably not as good as friends. Or I should say Piastri and Norris probably aren't as good as friends as Bailey and Gudger, but they are still teammates that are each other's close rivals in the standings. So it's cool to see that relationship, even though they're fighting for the standings and for the overall championship win. They're still playing it close, they're still playing together, and they're still having a blast out there.
Bailey got that launch, but he did not have the pace longer into the run, and he's going to yield straight away to Cody Gibson. Now, drivers that push early at Dover might experience the pains later as a tap on the wall as well from Gudger. That's another thing that will play you. The wall on the exits of both turns. I want to see if these cars do that little bit of a squirm on the way out. It's usually right around now. Not what they do, a bit of a bounce. Maybe this car is actually a little bit more controllable than the old one out the corners. But people say all of NASCAR is about pushing too hard early versus pushing later. Well, there it is from Zane Bailey.
I'm about to say
on the exit. But this is certainly a track where if I see someone flying early, I let them go. I move a lane up. That bottom is that tire-saving line. If you diamond it right, if someone's flying 5 minutes early, I just let them go because I know that they are doing some crazy stuff to get up there. And this track will punish you for your misdeeds. Push that one that's a little bit too far. That said, the gap's evened out just a little bit. Looks like Gudger sort of wants to defend, and putting your car half a lane up off the bottom is a really tempting defensive strategy here. You sort of goad the other car into maybe going for a gap that doesn't exist. It's risky, or you can just deny the bottom from them entirely. Of course, it takes a long way around, which can be fast as the race progresses. But it's very much a last hurrah to get a lot out of your tires. Gibson's all over the rear of Gudger. I think this is a battle that's going to keep developing for a while.
Yeah, as a driver that loves Bristol, and I'd say my favorite track is Darlington. My third favorite's Bristol. As a driver that loves those two tracks, this looks absolutely phenomenal, and I'm kind of mad that the League iRacing's never gone here because this looks so much fun to drive. I love the hop, skip, and jump that they get out of those corners. It looks absolutely incredible. And where you're driving on the edge of the exit, having to really balance your rear, fight the car into the corner. I mean, what is more fun to drive than, pushing the exit or pushing your rears on the exit of the corner? As you can see, the 16 at Dylan Wilbers, we'll probably see it again here. Look at, as Howie was talking about, it really gets a big slide. Okay, it didn't that time, but I know you guys have been seeing it the entire race. It looks so fun for them out there. And yeah, look at this. These three leaders have pulled out already, I believe, around 0.8 of a second onto fourth place. He was Aaron Raymond, by the way. So he is up 15 spots from the start of the race. So great stuff from that number 6 car. Had the pre-race EOL, I should say. Had the contacts with I forget who it was. The contact with the 14 car of Chris Mackey. Used that fast repair and now all the way back up into 4th and closing in on Zane Bailey. So this 3-horse race about to turn into a 4-horse race.
My tip, if you want to bring a car here and you want to race it, and let's just say it's not the Gen 4 or the Gen 4 is the greatest around here, it's the Xfinity car. It has all that same slip of this thing, and it requires you to slide the head out of those tires. The trucks are a little bit too low powered, and the next gens are like an alien from another planet. So the Xfinity cars come quite perfect if the Gen 4 Cup Series doesn't come here anytime soon. Of course, it's losing its points-paying race in the NASCAR Cup Series next year. It's only becoming the All-Star race. I don't know what they're doing. Okay, I don't know what they're doing, ditching my favorite mile-long oval out of the points races. Something track ownership. Big shot on the outside for Thomas Lane. Not the first time of many, let me tell you that. We're side by side for the lead, though, as Gudger's given up that bottom lane, and Gibson's forced his way under.
Yeah, this might go back to, you know, maybe Gudger's not pushing as hard as Gibson is, as they're going to stay side by side. Oh, nearly make contact on corner entrance, or corner exit, I should say. Gudger's able to keep it. But I'm surprised Gudger's fighting for it this hard, because you can tell Gibson is pushing out his tires more than that 64 LSU machine. So I'm surprised Gudger didn't just yield the position, say, go ahead, go have fun making a 5-second gap on me and burning out your tires. I'll see you in about 20 laps time when you have no tires left. I'm surprised he's not doing that, but he's, you know, using his tires, you know, keeping him behind, keeping the track position. And maybe he thinks that keeping Cody Gibson in his dirty air is the right strategy for the moment. But remember, these drivers have to be careful, especially Cody Gibson has to be careful. You make one mistake going for a move, and look at that, Zane Bailey, 2 tenths behind you, is right on your tail, and you know he's going to be looking for the slightest mistake, the slightest bit of momentum that he can find on you, and he's going to send that thing right on your inside if you're not careful.
When you're side by side around here, as we look at Lane Jr. and Swafford, the car on the outside can sometimes slide its way up almost horizontally across the track on exit. It's one of those things about the transition here that's quite brutal. If you're too up high, you have to really watch the way the car will slide into the wall. This is one of those tracks where the car just sort of moves itself laterally upwards on exit. There's just nothing quite like it out there. Here's Paul Witt in P8. There's a few battles going down further down the pack. Everybody, though, really kind of wants to mind their own business. This is really a race where you mind your own business for as long as humanly possible and you try and get it done at the end. Both these drivers are already running very, very, very high, and Dylan Wilbers might take the chance. Still, you know, you just feel like they get closer and closer to the wall every lap, and it's not like a track where you want to run the top like Homestead. It's just one where the top comes for you anyway. Almost sent it free. Dylan Wilbers almost caused the catastrophe. Backs out of that one at the last second, but this battle isn't over.
Yeah, Tanner Marr losing some positions there, as I made a mistake pre-race. I didn't think Tanner Marr was in the field tonight. He is in the field tonight, so he did serve that pre-race EOL. So he's up all the way from the back of the field to this 9th position now, as he's about to lose it and go to 10th position as William McClellar IV is on his inside. So maybe we're seeing the tire effects already. Lap 28, maybe Tanner Marr really pushed out his tires, making his way from the back of the field to the top 10. And now he's losing all of those positions that he gained just because his tires are shredded. That right front, really feeling the burn. That right rear, especially, I can imagine Howie really feeling the burn, especially on corner exit. I mean, you think these cars are hop, skipping, and jumping at the start of the stint. Imagine what that car is doing by the end of the stint when your right rear doesn't have any more life. And look at this, you can see these drivers taking a really interesting line, almost like a Darlington turn 1 line, where you start up high, go down to the bottom in the middle of the corner, and then go back high. It's really interesting, this line they're running here, and I've never seen the line before, because once again, just don't have a lot of experience with Dover, but I'm really wishing I have, because this looks fun.
The diamond is the way to make it work around here. Always forget about that car on the top every time a car goes side by side here. I don't watch this league every single week. I'm really in around Phil Nolan on plenty of off weeks, but I've come to know some drivers, and I'm starting to sort of know some dynamics. One of the ones I have come to know is following sort of William McKellar's journey. I find he's pretty consistently, like, not slow, but he does end up in unusual situations. He sort of does end up in incidents that happen, and he'll be at the top and the bottom of the grid at both points in a race. So right now he's in the middle, running side by side with loads of other cars. I can hear you wincing as the cars bounce up through corner exit. I'm keeping an eye on him as to what's going to happen to that. He's kept it clean for now, but the middle is not usually what I see from him. It's usually a race of extremes. Here's Kundra on Raymond, as the top 3 have largely separated out, forced up high, and if you run high as like a full-time dedication, you can get a lot done here because there's a lot of speed on exit, and Kundra uses it well. If you're forced up there, sometimes you just beg to be given the sweet release of the bottom. Still, there's battles going off everywhere here. Marr, Swafford, and Witt here. Sometimes going side by side, but they've now taken the top. They've taken their full-time transition. They're moving up.
Yeah, this is now the turnover point, I think, where we really get to start seeing, okay, who saved their tires, who didn't. And those drivers that didn't save their tires are starting to fall through the pack, like Aaron Raymond, 2.7 seconds off Gudger now. Remember, that was 1.2 seconds, like probably about 15 laps ago. Other drivers that we've seen losing places, you know, like Tanner Marr, and more guys through the field, they're getting passed by all these other drivers who were more cautious on their tires and were better at saving them. And we're also approaching lap 35 of this stint. So now the question begs, Howie, now the question that's begging to be answered is, how long are these fuel stints going to last? Usually around these tracks in the SRA, of course, it's about 30 or so laps, but around a mile, I mean, these could be anywhere of upwards of 45 or 50 laps, because remember, for those at home, they are restricted fuel tanks. They're not 100% fuel stints. They're not allowed to fill all the way to the max in this league. So it's interesting to see. We kind of like have to play the guessing game of where we think each fuel stint is. Once again, Gudger getting really loose on exit. Gibson behind getting loose as well, and that one machine is still howling at the back of that 64. He is not giving anything up. Does not want to lose any time on him. And that's Zane Bailey side by side with the lap car, I believe. That's the 71 of Mike Campbell being put a lap down by Zane Bailey. Elliot Condra is now making huge strides to the field in that 09 Napa car. So this could be a driver to watch now.
There's lapped cars everywhere now. You can see 2 ahead of Gudger up in P1. This is the key about 20-second laps, is you get lap cars very fast. Also notable though, the drop-off, if I'm just to get some data from this driver, the fastest in the current lap. In the world of fastest in the last lap, in the world of a 20-second lap, that is significant. Those tires are done right now, but everybody's living with the same problem. Zane Bailey has caused a wreck, and we should be going yellow off that. I won't say caused quite now, but tangled up with a lapped car, and amazingly, we somehow stayed green from that. This is bizarre. We're going to need to give that another watch and work out what happened. This was Zane Bailey in a lapped car. Trying to work out which car it is. 24 up there. 24's very slow on the outside, and as a result, it just runs into the momentum of that 20. Joshua Burke, that is, slowest car up here. You can tell that car's got no energy left in it, just the way it's going through these corners. And this is where it's all going to end in tears, I think. Any car like Zane's is also going tight, but it's going a whole lot faster. It's going to be on a one-way collision course to make contact. And he's a bounce off the wall from the 24 that triggers the whole lot. I think another car might have been tagging that too. Josh Walker, I've heard, mate. What's he doing here? That might be just a pit stop. He just pit stopped during the whole thing. Fine, we'll take that. Up front, we're side by side from the lead, by the way, because we didn't go yellow one bit.
No, that's, not going yellow for that crash. I mean, Zane Bailey's just 2 laps down now. Essentially completely out of the race, as his championship rival is up there in first now. So that's a huge hit for that 20 car. And the fact that, just didn't expect that lap car to be so slow on high on exit. And because not only was a 20 able to keep going, but the lap car got off the racing surface, iRacing did not feel the need to throw a caution, so they just simply didn't. And of course, there's no live admins to throw a caution when they think there's necessary. So we're staying green, and we'll take it. I like green races, and there it is. A fresh, clean car for Zane Bailey, using that faster pair on much fresher tires than Mike Campbell. I assume that's going to be one of the easiest overtakes we'll see all race. And now we go back to this fight for the lead. The 1 versus the 64. Tale as old as time here for the Sim Racing Association, as I feel like these 2 cars are always battling each other at the front. These are 2 very quick cars, 2 very competitive cars, and 2 cars that love giving each other a good battle. And that's Thomas Lane Jr. coming in to make his routine pit stop. That's 43 laps into the stint, and 429 of Paul Witt as well coming down pit road. So looks like the number's around 45 laps, so we could expect these 2 cars to be making their way into the pits very, very shortly.
So here's what's really interesting about Zane Bailey's situation. Stopping under green on this track is a loss of 2 laps. As here goes Cody Gibson trying to force out Michael Gudge up high again. Stopping under green on this track loses you 2 laps. It's quite unusual compared to many of the other tracks on the schedule where you lose 1. You lose 2 here. Zane Bailey lost time when he wrecked, but he didn't lose another lap's worth of time when he wrecked. He only really got basically a drop to the back from all that slow damage. Then he just took a normal pit stop with the fast repair. So, and also kind of on rhythm. So if the whole pack cycles out, he's back in this race, but just from the back of it. If there's a caution, that's when drivers that stopped are screwed, and all, it's typical. Like if you stopped at the green and there's a caution that's over, you start writing the name of the person that caused that caution in your death note. Because they 2 laps down and you're going nowhere now. And that's when this track starts to go to absolute hell for you. So if we're able to get this cycle done, Zane Bailey might have been one of the luckiest drivers around, because he's actually decently far ahead of the rest of the drivers that have made scheduled stops. His stop was 14.4 seconds. He had the fast repair attached. He might get away with this. Gibson stops first, by the way. Then it's going to be Gudger. Don't rear-end him in the pit stop, Aaron Raymond. Thank you very much. And you'll just see how agonizingly so. This is one of the slowest pit cycles in the universe. We're yellow. Wait, it's Aaron Raymond.
Oh, wow.
No, it's not.
All right, well, someone's getting told to hit that on.
It's Burke again.
It's Joshua Burke.
It's Burke for the second time.
Joshua Burke will bring a lot of drivers' nightmares here tonight as, oh, don't tell me it's Bailey again. Or does he lose on his own this time?
I think he does this himself. No. Get that car away.
No way.
Get that car away.
Oh, no way. It's the same thing. Same corner. Same corner, same place, same everything. Wow.
This time Zane Bailey gets away with it unscathed, but now he's 2 down. So the pack is now cursed. It's a collective curse for everybody. Exactly a third into this race. The caution comes out. What is this going to do for the field? Well, Cody Gibson and Mike Campbell and Aaron Raymond are 1 down because they stopped mid-caution. They'll get a lap back when the whole pack in front makes their stop. And then you're going to have Bailey, Mackey, McKellar, Witt, Walder, Lane, Henrigan, and Burke 1 down when they get waved around. Here come the pit stop for the drivers that didn't take. So some drivers are going to get good, and some are going to be trapped in purgatory. And this is going to become a bigger lap track game than ever before. Here comes the group in for the pit stops now. And we'll keep an eye if anything interesting happens in the lane. No speeding on the way in. Joshua Burke already used the fast repair though, I think. So Joshua Burke's day is done. 2 major wrecks, both from just being slow on the exit of 2 and running into, would you believe it, the same guy twice.
Yeah, and I've never noticed this. The 64 has the Weezer Blue album as his pit board, which is Weezer is my favorite band, so I love to see the representation there from the 64 machine. I'll definitely be sure to ask him about that post race if he makes his way into the booth, because that is really, really cool from one Weezer fan to another. And it's going to be Michael Gudger first out of the pits with Elliot Condra behind. And Howie, I think my money on this race is on Elliot Condra. He has had great long race pace in that machine. Or long run pace, I should say, in that 09 machine. So I think if he's able to keep that up, if he's able to keep his tire under wraps like he did in that first stint, I think that the 09 car has a great shot of winning this race. And Howie, I don't know if you remember, but the 64 leading the 09, that is not something we're unfamiliar with here at the SRA.
Good old SRA thing. Sometimes it's inevitable. Zane Bailey, William McKellar, Paul Witt, Thomas Lane Jr. all going to get wave arounds to get back on the lead lap. Jonas Waldo, 2 down, is going to miss it, I believe. There are drivers between the 2. He's going to be sent to the back and basically dooms him out of this race for quite some time. Here comes Zane Bailey flying around the field. I'm the sort of driver that would be flying around the field to catch the back and stack it into the outside wall right now, by the way. Would you believe I'm 2K at ovals? You wouldn't believe it. It's not possible. There are drivers here that are double my own rating, so at least there's talent abound. Gudger and Kanja going to start on the front row as this pace lap takes about the average time of a Dover pace lap. Let's see if I can catch the pace and pit lane speed here. It's uniquely brutal, let me tell you that. You You can see it here right now. Like, here we go, bit by bit. We're gonna make it eventually.
Snail's pace.
You got to compensate somehow.
Yeah.
Like, pit stop is 35 miles an hour, so that's how slow you have to go to make it into pit lane. Yeah, it's horrible. Delayed green.
The school zone.
Delayed green for probably a car stopping somewhere on this track, or maybe a league admin doing it because cars didn't quite catch the back in time and they're not organised. So we're going to get one more lap under caution before we get this thing going. Well, no, because there's the pace car. Yeah, so we have to slow down. Okay, so this is what happens in iRacing when you delay the green too late. The pace car pulls in, everybody has to stop, and the pace car has to come around and do it again. So here it comes. It had a great journey, and it comes, and in we go again. Just iRacing things, really. Few drivers choosing to take an EOL. They think they're out of line in terms of strategy. I think the 5 asked for it. You might be seeing some drivers shuffle around. A lot of people are asking for EOLs at the moment. I mean, what's going on back there? This is us trying to work out who's at the end of the line. As long as we're not wrecking, we can do whatever we want here, to be totally honest. We're going to have very much a shuffled order. These drivers have done organising themselves. Oh, they might delay it again. I'm hearing they might delay it again because drivers still aren't in position. Yeah, we're delaying it again. Let's hope we've done it in time for the pace car to stay out. I think we're having mechanical issues for some of the players. So yeah, that 12 is having issues right now. Mark Arthur is sort of like holding up the pack. Giving out Morio Wells to people near the back. Well, this is one of the more confusing pace car periods I've seen. And this channel was the one that hosts FDR, so I've seen plenty of confusing yellow flag periods in my life, let me tell you that. Or teams trying to get in the blinds, it starts all the way up. Doing this one step at a time. At least we have the pace car this time, we're 1 to green, and I'm not hearing any news of extending.
Well, they finally figured it out. They got themselves settled. That took forever, putting it lightly. And Zane Bailey,
who's a
lap down, but he's running 6th in the pack, which doesn't make too much sense. I guess a lot of drivers took EOLs. That
EOLs, okay, like
really weird.
It was like the whole party.
Look at the inside line.
Look at the longest line.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah.
What?
There's a reason.
All right.
And the answer is that I was very, very busy and therefore couldn't listen to every single word that I'm sure there was a reason. I think people want to be out of the way of fast drivers on the track that knows to check people up very, very, very badly. They just sort of want to run their own race right now. We are ready to get going. It's Gudger and Kandra side by side. Very, very small outside lane to begin this restart. And here comes the green. Big move to the outside already by Gudger. Gudger wants to fly it up high. It was Kandra, I think. Kandra stayed at home. Gudger's got nothing but good launches. It's Kandra fly up high and just sort of cover off. You don't get much free ride around here until it's really, really tested. So drivers already very much settling into their groove already, as Aaron Raymond is 6th. Cody Gibson is right behind him right there. And there's a few lap cars in between that are going to be trying to fight to keep those laps. You can see Zane Bailey as P12 up there, fast and ready to complete, hoping for a lucky dog. Another caution slows his down again.
Or yeah, a lucky dog, or just drive through the field yourself and make the moves and put yourself back on the lead lap ahead of Michael Gudger. I can't imagine that Michael Gudger and Bailey, remember, they're teammates and friends. If Bailey gets right up behind Gudger, if he's able to pass Tanner Mark, if he's able to pass Elliot Condra, I definitely think there's a world where the 64 just lets him by and says, here you go, you can have your lap back. Or maybe a world where he just sits behind the 64 of Michael Gudger and just kind of keeps the 09 of Elliot Condra out of the race. So either scenarios are definitely possible, but we know Zane Bailey has the pace to match the 64 and the 09 in this race so far. As now Aaron Raymond puts it down the inside of the 42 car of Larry Bell. And now Cody Gibson as well follows up and gets that move done right before the exit of turn 4. Now coming down the main straight, it is Michael Gudger, Elliot Condra, Tanner Marr, Aaron Raymond and Cody Gibson, your top 5.
Plenty of scraps and a few outside wall attacks while they're at it. Cody Gibson, they're flying a little bit high, but still low, not quite fast enough to overtake Raymond, who holds a lane off the bottom. And it really is a battle here between Bailey and McKenna for that next position. The car between the two, Bailey's quite happy. I guess he's assuming another caution might spook this field, and if it does, and he's not involved in it, that is that back as easily as can be done. So Cody Gibson up in 5th, big gap then behind to the pack with Kyle Wellman. Everybody playing single file pretty much. Is Thomas Lane Jr. closest to a car in front in 15, still single file the whole way down. This is that tyre preservation part instead, where everybody just wants to be unbothered.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, unbothered. You just want to drive your own race, turn it very easily into the corner, go all the way from top, go all the way to the bottom, ease that car in, maybe make it turn in that, wow, I can't really talk. Just make the turn in really, really slow, really, really calm and under control. And that's how you save your tires the best. Pick up the throttle very, very slowly. You don't want to spin up your rears too much. You don't want to put too much pressure on your fronts by overcooking the exit as well. There's so many factors that go into tire saving, but really it comes down to one word, and that is smoothness. Slow off the gas, slow on the brakes, slow turning left into the corner, slow turning right out of the corner, slow off the brakes, and slow back onto the throttle. Everything slow, controlled motion. That is the way to make your tires last the longest. And of course, not to mention the line as well. Really running that low side line, sweeping into the corner, sweeping out of the corner. That is how you get the most out of these tires. And look at this 1.8 gap from Gudger to Condra. Is this Gudger pushing too much, or is this Condra saving too much? Only time will tell, but my money, I'll tell you what, Howie, is on the 09 car.
I think Gudger is very naturally fast here. We got a little rivalries in the booth here, I think. I'd like to say I forgive you for not being able to speak after your fantastic job on the full-length Indy 500 for VOR earlier today, only a couple hours ago, and what an incredible race. You can go back and watch the VOD of that. It was a thrill all the way to the end. And it's one of the things that makes me love doing this job, is getting to work on races like that. I only had to press buttons, and now you put me on talking. So here it comes. Now Zane Bailey sort of being used as a bit of a pick here. He slowed down a little. He's still in a position he's happy with, and I don't know if he wants to defend too hard against these guys, but he's got 3 drivers racing for position on him, and the last thing he wants is to be responsible for a wreck around them. Still on the high side, dangerously close to the wall, but keeps it together. It's a 6 on the bottom of Aaron Raymond that's going to now clear, and the 1 of Cody Gibson. That's going to put him in range of McKellar, who is actually the car he is racing for position. He's going to actually hold off Gibson here a bit. He is giving Gibson the line here. He's giving Gibson the line that he wants. You want to have that diamond, which sort of go up in the corner a little bit and then back down. Now he's vulnerable, because now William McKellar is actually that car competing for a lucky dog position. Now the race is on between these two.
Yeah, Zane Bailey just doing the really respectable thing there as a driver, and letting the 40, the 6, and the 1 get past him, letting them have their fight uncontested by lap traffic, as the 43's in the wall, which allows the 17 of Noah Swafford to get by. But I really like what that 20 did there. You just let them all by, let all 3 of them, show no favor to any of those 3 cars, let them all by equally. He took the same line with all 3 of them. He gave the same line to all 3 of them and just really let them battle on, didn't inhibit anything that Raymond, Marr, or Gibson was trying to do. So just really respectable stuff from the 20 driver there. So I do appreciate him letting them back, because remember, he is a lap down. Even though he's probably the 2nd quickest driver on this track today, he's a lap down, and he just doesn't want to get involved with things that he shouldn't be involved in, which is perfectly fine. I think the perfect thing to do. But it does put him at risk against the 75 of William McKellar the 4th, of course, because they are both a lap down, and this is going to be fighting for that lucky dog position come if a next caution were to come out. But I don't think that is on Cody Gibson's mind at all. I think that he believes he has much more pace than the 75, and I don't think he's worrying at all about getting overtaken by William McKellar.
I think you're subtly calling me disrespectful there, because I'm the sort of driver that, as long as it's safe, would use those cars as a weapon, yeah? And I would, because there's a guy behind me that's bearing down on me, and I need that lap back. It's not an easy ride back up to the top after the Lucky Dog. You can see the passing here is not trivial. You can do it. It's certainly a track that you can pass, but it doesn't come for free. You have to sort of earn it and grind it out to someone, and you have to get end of the longest line with a Lucky Dog. We've currently seen what the longest line looks like. It's like queue for the DMV. Try getting one of these things license, let me tell you that. Zane Bailey, it seems to be dropping just a little bit of time to McKenna. It feels like McKenna has just seen this chance in his front window and is taking all of it. He was 10th fast on last lap. We'll see how much faster he is coming around this time as we approach halfway through the race. He is getting closer. He's inching and inching and inching closer, just bit by bit by bit. Big problem, though, is going to be that final inch of getting past. We actually have takers for the pits. That's Chris Mackey who's taken the first scheduled pit stop of the race. Not of the stint, may I say. So, still a little bit to follow there, but see if I can get the gap between these two drivers up for you so you can sort of see. This is going to be, I think, really the battle to watch. McKellar, once he gets in that sort of window of dirty air, that's when he loses the ability to really make that chase. But he's been dropping that now for a couple of laps right after he's got him right up to Zane Bailey. Maybe he pushed a little bit too hard.
Yeah, either pushed a little bit too hard or, doesn't want to be right up in the dirty air of the 20 car and really push out his tires, because when you're in the dirty air, you have to use more tires, and your tires will struggle in the long run. As a 16 now. Great move down the inside of Chris Mackey. That is Dylan Wilbur's. Oh, that's a lap traffic battle. That does not matter at all. I am losing my mind over here, Howie. 4 hours of casting, and I've completely lost it. But yeah, Dylan Wilbur's running in 8th now. The car ahead of him, the Taco Bell 12 machine of Mark Arthur, that is 4th position. And I want to turn your attention to something, Howie. That gap between Elliot Condra and Michael Gudger has gone down to 2nd since we last took a look at it. So, me and you clashing heads in the booth. I took 09, you took the 64. We're about to see them clash on the track right in front of us as that gap is closing very, very rapidly.
It's up to 2/10 a lap, time after time, and I think this is what a Dover race is really like. It's not actually about the side-by-side as much as it's about the long run. And this long run really has gone the way I didn't quite call it. Tundra has pace as this run approaches its end, and we still have about another 10 to 15 laps left on the stint. Of course, drivers about 30 in right now. We made it to about 45 last time. One more pit stop from that point would help seal off the race. Tundra sort of dying out in position, but maybe I think he's quite where he wants to be. If you're here now, then really you can use your last stint to make your big push. Just get tiny gains now. Oh, I'm hearing something from that car. Let's follow the onboard and see if you can follow along what Elliot Hunt is doing in the mid-corner. You'll see it, and you probably see it coming already. He's fuel-saving already. Seriously fuel-saving to get through those turns. Is Michael Gudger doing the same? He's not. He's running the corner. So really, you're smarter than I could ever imagine. Why would I ever doubt you? So Condra's gotten into a range he's comfortable with, and now he's like, I'm happy here. Now I'm going to get several more laps on fuel and beat you on the next stint. This is good thinking.
I mean that makes sense. Give yourself a tire delta, give yourself the overcut. 3 or 4 laps around these concrete tracks of Dover. That's a huge amount of tire wear in just 3 or 4 laps. So even if you're the littlest amount of fuel saving can extend that stint just a little bit, you can get that overcut and really see the long-term benefits of that. So smart from the 09 to do here. I don't quite want to start running fuel numbers yet just because I'm not too confident on how long these fuel tanks will last. So I'm not going to quite say that it's fuel saving to make it one more stop to the end of the race, because at least from right now, it looks to be, or it seems to be, that all of these drivers probably have to make 2 more stops at least by the time, at least to make it to the end of the race, because they probably have about 13 to 15 laps on this stint, which of course would take them to the 50 lap mark at the most. And I don't know, it's actually close. it could be the third fuel race in a row here, Howie. I don't want to talk about it too much yet because I could just be completely wrong. But I mean, it definitely is going to be close, and maybe Elliot Condra's kind of recognized that and has already started saving in preparation for this to be a long-term fuel race. And maybe we might get another Michael Gudger interview where he's not so happy about losing a fuel race.
Ever think one day you maybe think, I can't beat him, join him? We have to see how that one plays out.
I know, right?
We have to see how that one plays out. If Condra can make it to 50 to go, he can do it, I think. But if he can't, it's going to be a struggle without another caution. You're right. I don't think he'll be able to. If it's something like 55 to 60, that's still another 20 he has to gain now. It's another 10 he'll have to gain now. That'll be 45 now, and that's 55 to go on the other side. It's going to be so tough, I think. Caution needs to do it for him. But Elliot could also just be saying, like, even if this doesn't become a fuel race, and I can stop at the same time as Gudger, I've proven I'm now fast enough to get up behind him. So I can just relax throughout this stint, just sort of keep him where I want him to be, and then attack at the very, very end when it matters. I think Khan just put himself now in a situation where he can take this race either way because he's still within range while fuel saving. He knows that when he pushes, he can get up. I think he's covered every single possibility here.
Of course, I talk about it so much before. I think the race that sticks in my head the most is Cody Gibson on Michael Gudger at Old Atlanta, where Gibson would just push up his tires to get right on the back of Michael Gudger and then sit in his dirty air for a 50-lap stint and then pit and then do the same thing over again. And there's no point in burning out your tires in dirty air, getting the understeer that the car ahead of you gives and having that understeer really hurt your tires in the long run. There's no point in doing that. So Elliot Condra, he proved that he can catch up to Michael Gudger, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to burn out his tires in the dirty air. He likes sitting in the second gap about, and really, keeping that distance, keeping the clean air ahead of you. But he's now started to really fall off as that gap that was half a second is now 1.2 seconds. And he's falling off so much that Aaron Raymond now is within half a second of him. And here we go on the broadcast. Is a 12 versus a 16. That is Mark Arthur versus Dylan Wilbers. This battle has been looming for probably about 15 or 20 laps ago when I was talking about the 16 car in the Slim Jim. And now it has finally happened, and that Slim Jim machine has gotten by the Taco Bell machine, proving that they are the significant food source in this scenario at least. And yeah, look at this. That Logland Corporation 09 machine falling back a lot to Aaron Raymond. He's right on the bumper from now, going in to 4.
I'm not sure where this pace has gone. I feel like if I'm in Condra's position, I just race as normal now to the end of the stint. I have a fuel advantage I've baked in. I don't need to do something stupid going over the top. See how he revs it going into the corner. He's still aggressively saving. That must mean he is utterly convinced that he can do this in one stop. Otherwise, he'd just give it up now and he'd just race like normal. But he is driving like someone who really absolutely has done this maths and knows he doesn't care because he can one stop it. And remember, green flag pit stop is 2 laps. This track often becomes a fuel race because of just how big that delta is. So you don't lose 2 laps by running slow. So it's not impossible. I mean, but he knows the maths in his car and not us. He's been going 42 on the stint. There's 58 to go. That feels like a mountain to climb. That's another 10-15 miles.
And yeah, we think back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Just 2 weeks ago, the race Elliot Condra won. Beat out Zane Bailey, beat out Michael Gudger by doing the exact same thing he's doing right now. By saving the fuel, using the clutch into the corner, lifting off heavily into the corner. That is how Elliot Condra won at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And he's trying to do the exact same thing here at Dover Motor Speedway, trying to pull off another underdog win. Maybe Michael Gudger and Cody Gibson, maybe they have the pace over the 09 car. But if you don't fuel save, if you don't play this strategy as well as Elliot Condra can, then you're just not going to beat him in the long run. If Elliot Condra can keep playing this mental game, this chess game of fuel, and keep winning races because of it, that's all props to him. And every race that he wins doing that, he absolutely 100% deserves that win, because it is not easy to keep a good pace while fuel saving effectively. And it is all about watching numbers and keeping everything on track.
Here's what the championship champions would look like after today, and really, you know, Gudger builds a significant gap over Zane Bailey, swings things the other way, then Aaron Raymond dropping into the pit lane, and now he's going to be moving himself to a 2-stop. But look at Conjure making up 10 on everybody ahead except Gudger. That championship win is very, very hard because a P2 isn't very much versus a P1. I saw that as well. That's Mark Arthur sideways and upwards, and that's our next yellow.
But that throws a wrench into everything. Everything. Any fuel plans, fuel saving, wrench, boom. Because now with the caution coming out with 53 to go, driver's going to pit one more time here, and they're going to be good to the end of the race most likely. So let's see how this happened. Did he get some help from the 22 McDonald's machine? He definitely might have. Oh, yeah. Just comes up into him. Oh, it's weird because the 22 didn't go all the way to the wall like he's obligated to. But the 12 did move up lines into him. That's going to be a hard one to call. Probably just a racing incident from my perspective.
People have been getting a little frustrated at the way this 22 has been driving alongside that traffic. I've been hearing it on the radio all race. He has slowed up a few drivers on the way, but I do see Mark there moving into a little space that hasn't quite been made free, not quite clear, but this track does beckon you up if you don't handle your entry perfectly. So it's not always malicious to clear yourself like that. Sometimes it's just the nature of the track and of nailing that perfect entry and exit. It's claimed many victims from now, and 50 laps into this stint for everybody. It's going to be 50 on the other side. Now the fuel game is over, and it's a sprint race to the end. Zane Bailey, though. Did Zane Bailey stop? Zane Bailey stopped in that pit cycle. Now 2 down. Now effectively out of this race. No, again, people that stopped are screwed here. Because we have Aaron Raymond, Mike Cap, who's multiple laps down. Zane Bailey's 2 down. Paul Wick's 2 down. Lane Jr. is 2 down. Wilder Jr. is 4 down, but he's stopping. So is Jernigan, and Mackie is 5 down. So that's a few drivers are all just down and out. And Zane Bailey goes from worst to worst because he did make a pit stop. He's only a few laps into this stint. And it just gets taken away from him again. Zane Bailey's horrible, no good, bad day on Dover Motor Speedway. Long may it continue. You will not get to talk about Weezer today.
No, but no, it was Gunter. I think it was Gunter that had the pit board, so it's all good. I know it's confusing. I thought it was Bailey too for a second because, you know, the blue album makes sense with the light blue car, but I do believe it was Gunter. So I'm hoping he falls to second place so I get to interview him. Of course, I'm kidding about that.
I have to check this. Well, which one am I looking
at? Yeah, it's Gunter.
There it is. Yeah. Well, it is blue. I might just give them to you. I might just give them to you anyway, like, no matter what. Like, I get to decide who takes the interviews, so...
That's true.
I might just say, like, you just take this and, you know... I never understood them.
But...
I've never, like, tried to dig into them, but every time I've listened to them, I've thought, like, what the hell is this? Like, I can't get through this.
Okay.
So, you do...
Alright, we just don't like rock music. It's all good. I'm playing... I mean, what music would you like to listen to then? Like, do you like the rock kind of stuff?
Well, I like it. It just feels like Weezer are trying to be bad on purpose, you know?
Okay,
Sure. I've only listened to bits of it, and every time I was just a little bit like, this is just too weird. Like, I can't do this. So, it could just be a
It's just issue. Rock music.
It's a skill issue. I can attest.
Okay, it might be. I mean, I listen to a lot of bands that have like the kind of like cult followings, like really polarizing bands. Like you either love them or you hate them. Like Weezer, like 21 Pilots, like AJR. You know, I feel like 3 bands, like you either really, really like them or you really, really, really are against them. And those are definitely my 3 favorite bands at the moment. And Green Day being my 4th favorite kind of adds to that narrative as well. So lights and the pace car off. We're gonna get going to green here soon.
Well, at least you have an identity for it. I don't know what's going on in the back here. Ooh. Hopefully they're settled out in time because I don't think we quite have time to delay this green. Yeah, we do go green. We do go racing. Black flag for Wilder Jr. That might get cleared. That was a bit of a messy start. As we fly into turn 1 and now to sprint all the way to the end. And Elliot Condra had a bad day on pit lane. He stopped 5 seconds longer than the other drivers. So he's now got a mountain to climb up. We have to identify what happened to him if we get a chance, whether it was a bad box or whether we need to take repairs on something. Because now he's got a mountain up to climb, and Michael Gudger gets to run away. And if there's one thing Gudger has proven he's been able to do, is being able to get those single runs done by the end. No room to fuel save anymore. There goes the 16 to the bottom. Dylan Wilbers might just be on the line. We might just get this race going green. But this is an example of the looseness on exit finally catching someone, I think, here on board. And I think we know how this is going to end. The transition as you exit the turn is finally just going to be... Oh, no, he just digs it a bit low halfway through the turn and sends himself into the wall, down and out. Not a meatball, but that's got to hurt, let me tell you that. Back to live pictures.
Yeah, cold rear tires just did not give him the stickiness that he needed on corner exit, and yeah, just lost it on exit, and not much he can do there to save the car. You know, with the already awkward transition from banking to flat, if you're going into that transition already with no control over your rears, there's no way you're coming out of it with control over your rear. So yeah, just loses it on cold tires and gonna have to come down to the pit lane, get the little bit of damage fixed, and see if he can pick up his race where it left off and see if he can come back from that. And now the 09, who we mentioned, had that very slow stop in pit lane, makes his way past Mark Arthur up into 5th place. Now looking to challenge Tanner Marr and Kyle Wellman. Remember how he has the pace to fight with Cody Gibson and Michael Gudger, so he's going to be doing work, or he's going to be putting a lot of work in to make his way through the pack so we can start bringing the battle to the 64 and the 1. But Mark Arthur not having it. He's fighting back with Elliot Condor here. He is not letting him go by easily. Elliot Condor's trying to run this diamond line that you've talked about. Mark Arthur's using that opportunity to take the inside, be annoying, be a little fly in his ear, as I've been mentioning all day at the Indy 500, and he's got that place back now.
The way that Martha slid up into Condor's car sort of scared me. It made me think we're about to witness the end here. Tanner Marr up ahead, fighting up with Kyle Wellman, and you can see a fast Zane Bailey 2 down. Very little's going to get him out of this situation right now. I have been wanting to head back and just sort of like do a bit of a check on maybe if something happened on Condor's pit stop, or whether he just had something to repair on the car and he took the repair. Let's find out. Let's just go a little bit faster than that. There is a race going on, would you believe it? It's just going to be a game of like whether that entry to the box is screwed, whether he just chooses to take repairs that have been affecting his car. Looks good in. So I think I see a dent on the rear, and that's just him taking a little bit of optional repairs on the way out, I figure. Back to live, and we have plenty of racing here for the 4th and 6th positions.
Yeah, and good thing that he unchecked his fast repair, because with how chaotic this is most likely going to get towards the end of the race, you want to hold on to that fast repair as long as you can, and a little bit of rear damage is not worth using that on, because the fast repair is absolutely insane. It can fix anything from 12.5 seconds of front nose damage to literally a half-hour damage of your front engine being completely blown out. So, you know, saving that fast repair for, you know, a front engine, I should say just an engine blowing out rather than a little bit of rear damage is definitely worth it in the long run, even if that shuffles him down to 6th place during the restart. And now, yeah, Tanner Marr and Kyle Wellman, not names that we've seen up here a lot this race. They're fighting for 3rd and 4th currently. So they've done great job, you know, through these pit stop cycles, through the strategy to get up and put themselves in these positions, even if they don't have the pace that Cody Gibson and Michael Gudger have. As you see, they are 2.3 seconds off of 2nd place. But great job from them to really cycle themselves up here. And, you know, if they can hold on to this, I mean, it's going to be a very, very impressive race for them and can really help their points in the midfield standings in the championship battle.
Here we are racing all the way to the end on one big sprint down the line, and it's 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. So the biggest points of interest is Aaron Raymond flying up the inside of Elliot Carlinger, who doesn't seem to have pace on him. And this time around gets the exit, but they seem to be trading who gets that lower portion of the track. Up front, I don't think Gudger has particularly escaped from Gibson. It's a battle as old as time, and this time there's very little fuel game to really complain about. This is probably going to be the one-on-one that decides everything, but does Gibson want to make this attack now, or does he want to wait? I think we've seen Gudger use up the tyres, and this is a full stint's worth of running.
Yeah, I remember, think back to old Atlanta, it was these two cars. I've already brought it up a couple times today, but Gibson loves just sitting on the rear bumper of the car in front, putting the pressure on, trying to force you into a mistake by just simply being there and being really big in your mirrors. That is how this one machine drives. That is how Cody Gibson likes to drive and likes to kind of not manipulate, but almost like coerce you into a mistake just by being right up on your bumper, right? You know, because believe me, Gudger is constantly checking his mirror, seeing, is Gibson going to dive bomb me here? Is Gibson going to go high here? Where's Gibson? Where's Gibson? You know, just a car being that close to you, it really lives in your mind. And that's really Gibson's game plan. I mean, he just loves sitting there. He's going to wait for his mistake. He's going to wait and wait and wait. And the second that he sees that 64 get a little bit loose, a little bit squirrely on exit, he's going to pounce. He's going to go for that inside line. And that might be it. You saw the 64 got a little bit hoppy on exit. But he's going to have to be careful and, you know, think back to old Atlanta. I don't know if you remember how that ended, but it was a lot of good laps led by Gudger. But one corner, he made a mistake, and Gibson won that race.
That was a thrilling finish, and it all happened on the wall. Which track on the schedule here has the most brutal wall? It's this one, let me tell you that. So there's still plenty of chance for stuff to happen. Kandra, Raymond, and Mar all battling it out still to this day. Three-way chase to the top, and keep an eye on Zane Bailey further behind. He's now a lap ahead of McCullough the fourth, when previously that was a battle early on in this race. 6 to the inside, 40 to the outside, side by side. Right now, Aaron Raymond's going to have it. Well, I have the feeling it won't stay that way. Up in front, Cody Gibson seems to get closer and closer and closer. But actually sealing the deal on this track is very, very hard.
As you can see, he's running a little bit of a gap off of the bottom. He's doing that for two reasons. One, if you run all the way to the bottom like the car ahead of you is, you're going to get a lot of dirty air mid-corner and be very, very tight on exit. Two, when you run just a little bit of distance from the bottom like that one car is doing, you can actually get a slightly better run on corner exit. And I'm surprised he's not taking the full high line around. Going to get a really good run down one of the straightaways and then climb the elevator, I should say, or go down in the elevator. I don't know the metaphor I'm looking for, but get a really good run using the high line, come down the track, send it down the inside is definitely a way you can try to make overtakes happen here. But yeah, many reasons he's running one car width off of the bottom here, and you can even see that diamond line that Howie was talking about. He's starting low, getting a little bit higher mid-corner, and then coming back down to finish his second apex. You can see it right here. Look at that. Starts low, gives a little bit of space in the mid-corner, and then comes back down once again. And that's a really interesting line. It's really a line that you only see in Darlington and around here, not even the other short tracks like Bristol. Do you see that line played a lot? So interesting to see that every track, even though they're all ovals and they're all left turns, how every track offers a unique set of challenges.
He catches up, he falls back, he catches up, he falls back. Cody Gibson not really making the ground, I expect. Elliot Kandra as well. Just a little behind Aaron Raymond, not really making it. I was expecting this track to heat up over the course of the race, but quite frankly, it's remained quite cool. And the sun is hardly bearing down on people's heads, and that generally makes the racing a little bit faster, and that's potentially what's contributed to some of the fuel racing as well around here. Dylan Wilbur's near the back, side by side with Thomas Lane Jr. Love to try and catch all the passes no matter where they are on the track. But really, it's Kandra for P5 and Gibson for P1. These are about the two most compelling battles, as most people have settled into their groove, and we'll see drivers catch up to each other, but that's because they'll be on different tyre deltas at that point in time. Near the end of the run, everything changes here.
Yeah, because of course there are no different tire deltas. You know, everybody is essentially 27 lap old tires, and there's really not any other change besides how these drivers have been using their tires. There's no big lap difference anywhere on the field, besides like in the very far back where you have people doing weird off strategies. But you know, for the positions that we're mainly concerned about, there's no big tire discrepancy, at least in laps. So all of the tire discrepancies, all of the pace discrepancies that we're going to see here are solely based on how well these drivers have been able to keep control of their tires and how good of a job that they have done saving their tires. And it's 22 to go now. Kyle Wellman holding that third position in no man's land, essentially, as he's got 3.2 seconds ahead of him, 0.8 of a second to Mark Arthur behind. He's really going to be hoping to hold on to that final podium position, get up here in the interview booth, come and talk with us, as I know a lot of these drivers love getting interviewed. It's just, it's a feel-good moment finishing up on the podium. Get to spray your imaginary champagne, but Mark Arthur, he's going to want that as well, and as you see, that gap is slowly but surely coming down. And just behind him, it's this battle that we're looking at right here. It's Aaron Raymond, it's Elliot Condra. That is your battle for fifth. And then behind, another Gar, kind of in no man's land, Tanner Marr, 2.2 seconds ahead of him. He's got 6 seconds behind. That 40 machine, you know, he got up there with great strategy, great pit cycle, kind of fell back a little bit, got passed by these quicker drivers, and is now kind of settled down in seventh. But once again, we're going to focus on this battle between the 09 and the 6.
Coming up in this championship after Dover, we go from the slow and tight to the fast and open. We go to Michigan International Speedway, where we'll get to see the new draft package in action. Of course, these cars way less drafty than they were just a week ago. This is hardly the track to show it off, but they were a little bit cartoonish back in the day. Aaron Raymond, 35 into the stint, is jumping into the pit lane. So, what's the game here? I thought that at least 40 was enough. Maybe some drivers have been pushing it too far and are now splitting it in half here, but that's really, really risky. How long has the stint's been in the past? I swear they've been long enough for this to not be a factor. Go listening on to Cody Gibson's car. Is he driving as normal in the turns? Yes, he is. So that's one just pit stop out of nowhere. We'll see if more people take. You don't want to do that for a strategy. Although, I will say that you could fly past people on new tyres here so quickly, get laps back before you ever believe.
Yeah, but I mean, you've said it so many times today, 2 laps down from taking a pit stop under green. That's a big risk that I wouldn't be willing to take, but maybe Aaron thought he wasn't good. Maybe he didn't think he had the fuel number, so instead of wasting out his time trying to hit this fuel number that he knows he can't hit a little bit early, take the undercut, get a bunch of time gained on these drivers on newer tires, and see if you can win the race that way. Of course, it's a risk because, you know, maybe all of these other drivers, they're good on fuel. But if you can't hit your number, there's really no other option for you in this circumstance. And I'm curious if we can run on board with Elliot Condra as he's in the battle with Mark Arthur, because Elliot Condra, we know, loves to save fuel. So if anybody's going to be trying to extend this stint, it's going to be him. So we can definitely see here. I'll shut up so you guys can hear if he's saving fuel, lifting or holding the clutch in the corner. This will tell us if these drivers can make it or not. It does not seem like it. He is being very aggressive on that throttle.
No, watch the rev count. If it hits 3 to 4K, that's you getting off and getting on the clutch. He's doing a little bit of fuel saving in the corners every lap.
That is right. You're completely right. I just completely missed it. He's on the clutch. I forgot that I was blind for a second, and yeah, thank you for correcting my mistake there. Elliot Condra not good on fuel, which means nobody is good on fuel, and it is going to be a fuel race. So even though there was a caution with 50 to go, these tanks, they don't go 50 laps without fuel saving, and now it's going to be who can beat who while saving fuel most efficiently.
Gudger, who was able to pull well away from Gibson. He's taking his corners at full power. It's all about the rest. Cody Gibson is hard fuel saving. Wow. That's why he's lost all his time. That's where all the time went. Hard fuel saving. Cody Gibson is on board with the save strat. wonder what Arthur and Kandra are. What Arthur must be. I just heard the collective sounds of all those cars cut out at the end of the corner. Get the onboard. Do not end up in the side of that car right now. Not a good time for any of that. Mark Arthur's driving it normally. Elliot Kandra side by side. This is tight all the way to the end. Don't slide up into the wall or into each other. This is some of the closest racing we've seen. Anyone that stops now has to know they're doomed. They have to know that they can't do this, but we're going to be keeping an eye out. Aaron Raymond recently stopped. He's actually back on lead lap. No, he is. He's one down. He's one down on lead. He might get that back, actually. Kandra not passing Arthur. He thinks this just is not going to work any other way. It's the tale as old as SRA history. But this time, I'm not sure whether it's going to work or not. Kandra seems confident he can finish the way he's finishing. What on earth is going to happen now?
Yeah, now Cody Gibson, though, reeling back that gap, so maybe Gudger has kind of found out, oh, shoot, it's a fuel race again. Are you kidding me? And now maybe Gudger's having to save fuel, and that's allowing Cody Gibson to come back in. It's Elliot Kandra now down to the inside of Mark Arthur. He clears himself by the time they get to corner exit, and he has made that move up for fourth now. He's going to be chasing down the 42 of Kyle Wellman, who, look, he's right there, Howie. That's him, right in view. Elliot Kondra's looking for the podium finish here in that Longland Corporation 09 machine. So I think what he's done is he's done all his fuel saving early on in the stint. He's done fuel saving. I'm curious to see if he still is, but I don't think he is. I think he's full push now. I think he's done what he has to do, and he can drive it full beams for these last 7 laps.
Gonna have to keep an eye on Gudger because he's absolutely convinced that he can win this by pushing. What? I'm listening in. He sees using revs. He's using revs. He thinks he can do this. More and more drivers ducking into the pit lane, though. That's
this is
Thomas
tense.
Lane.
This is so
Lane
tense.
Jr. has stopped. He can't do it. Kandra wants the podium. He might just end up taking it from Wellman on pure pace. For the rest of the places, he has to hope he saved enough. Watching these drivers carefully, look at that horrific bounce on exit. He sends it under the 42. Just has that front quarter on the rear quarter that gives him that space, but it's not speed on exit. Maybe try again. Or just hugging it outside. He has to be confident. He has to be confident that the laps are running down and there's only a minute of running to go. We're going to have to watch Michael Gudger to see whether he makes a dive down pit lane. Here's Kandra for fourth again. He's not even getting this pass done. You have to do this right now. You're running out of miles.
Oh, here we go. He's got the run. No, he might go for it. No, look at that. Very aggressive from Wellman instantly. Locks off the inside line, says not today to Elliot Kandra. And you're right, Howie. With 3 to go, it's ticking down. It's a ticking time bomb for the 09 machine. Howie has the inside. Wellman went up just a bit too high. Gives Elliot Kandra the breathing room on the inside. Has the quarter panel, but once again, probably not the speed on exit, but he does. Wellman got a little bit loose on exit. Kandra now is able to hold the inside, able to maintain it. Can he find the side job? Do the same thing he did to Mark Arthur. Not able to. He's so close. He's so close, Howie.
What are these cars doing to each other around here? Only 2 to go, and this is the real battle for the line. The white flag out up in the air. And Kandra's going to be getting so frustrated. That's a big shot at the wall on exit. As this track does and tempts you to. That might kill his momentum enough. I don't think that's quite going to come to him. But he sure is going to try. Cut off perfectly by Wellman there. Michael Gudger has done enough to cross the line as our winner. Ahead of Cody Gibson. And Kandra might have saved a bit too much for a little bit too long. As he fails to make that top 3. After all that work.
Wow, nail-biting finish. Not only with the battle between the 09 and the 42, but just a question looming in our minds. Can Michael Gudger and Cody Gibson make it on fuel? Have they done enough fuel saving to be good to the end? And they have. In the 64, Michael Gudger wins his 2nd race of the season. Further cements his championship lead over Zane Bailey. And this is looking like another runaway season. I don't know about another, but this is looking like a runaway season for this yellow and purple LSU machine.
I just heard on the radio, Michael, I expect a happy interview today. There's a lot on his shoulders now. None of that emo stuff, I heard.
Oh, jeez.
So, you know, we are that. We're expecting exactly the same. Gudger was fast from start to end. Kandra constantly had the potential that he could have done it. But I must have thought when Gudger was pushing that hard near the end that he must have done the maths properly somewhere, somehow. It's going to be fascinating working out quite how he did that. While the drivers get themselves ready for an interview, we are going to have to look through some of these finishing results and talk through a thriller of a race, as this track loves to bring up. Michael Gudger takes the win out of Cody Gibson in second, Kyle Wellman in third. Holds off Elliot Kundra. Mike Arthur's in fifth ahead of Tanner Marr, Noah Swafford, Larry Bell, Aaron Raymond, and Dylan Wilbers. I will not leave you out like I did for the grid.
Oh, good. Mike Campbell, who finished in 11th behind Zane Bailey, who's currently your championship leader, but after tonight, gonna be no more. He's going to be dethroned by Michael Gudger. Is William McClure the fourth, Paul Witt just behind him, Thomas Lane Jr., John Bowata Jr., the juniors lining up 15th and 16th to end the race. Then behind them, Joshua Jernigan, and 18th will be Chris Mackey, and rounding up the field will be Joshua Burke.
I think that makes all 19 drivers. I was pressing the button expecting more to show up. So let's see who's lined up for us in time. Looks like Kyle's here first, so we're going to go from back to front. And let's do this so that I do give you your quality time. So I'll give you Kyle Wellman in P3, and that'll leave you in line for P1, I think.
All right, well, Kyle Wellman, our third place finisher here today in that 42 machine. Talk us through how you're able to pull that off. You got the strategy right. You really cycled through those pits well. Really talk us through how you're able to do that.
First, just starting the race in the pits, because I thought there was going to be carnage on lap one, and didn't happen really, but I saved tires that whole time before that first caution, and then some guys were pitting right as the caution came out, and I think that's what really helped us get up to the top 5 there. And just a lot of tire saving for those long runs, able to keep the position and save at the same time helps a lot. And tell you what, Elliot there at the end saved like crazy and ran us down, but we put on a good battle. I was good on fuel till the end, and then he got up there and I wasted it and I ran out coming across the line. But great battle with Elliot there at the end.
Yeah, I was about to say that was a phenomenal battle to watch. We caught a lot of that, the side-by-side moments where he looked like he had just the quarter panel on your inside. Talk us through how you were able to fend him off and really how you're able to keep him behind you.
Here, unlike most tracks, you just got to pinch them down there. Most tracks, you kind of want to go to the high side and hope you have a good run on exit and stay to their door. But here, you can get a run on the bottom too, so really you just got to pinch them off and hope they don't have the run on exit. And he almost got clear of me once, and then he got a little loose, and I managed to stay there and just keep him down on the bottom. And a lot of it is just respect on track. Elliot didn't go in there and throw it in on me and hit me. I didn't run him off the track. It was just real good, clean battles.
All right, and my final question for you today is, do you have any people that you would like to thank and shout out this third place to?
I got to thank Tripods in the Wild Photography, my main sponsor, and then the guys over at Five Kings. We're hoping to put some cars in Victory Lane this year. And you guys up in the booth putting on a great show every week.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kyle. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and now, Howie, I believe that you are standing by with our second place finisher, the number 1 of Cody Gibson.
Cody Gibson, competitive throughout the race, but just never quite with the spark to take the P1. Bit of a weird mixed strategy race. How did it play out for you?
Yeah, it was a mixed strategy. I know midpoint of that race, I don't think I could. I think I was a little bit faster than Michael. Some parts, then he'd pull back away, then I'd catch back up. It just, I don't know. It was just, I tried so hard to pass him on low. I couldn't. And towards the end of the race, I kind of got to his high side. And I don't know. I think if I would have stayed in it, it would have wrecked us both because he was coming up the track. But it is what it is. I tried to get off sequence on pit stops. And when I pitted, caution came out, tracked me a lap down. And I was like, I was thinking it was over from there, but I was able to get back up there.
This track, brutal as ever, although I was curious as to quite how it treated the new Gen 4s. Lots of talk about them being tight. Maybe it won't end, but they certainly did seem still quite a bit unstable in the transition.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal on the tires. You know, I was sitting in there with my teammates, and they were telling me their tire wear, and I was, a little bit better than they was. And the people that were saving were like way better than I was. But yeah, it was brutal on the tires.
Well, he had a very, very impressive race out there nonetheless. Any other thank yous or shout outs?
Yeah, you guys up in the booth and my teammates down there at Five Kings. We're all there to help each other out. So appreciate it. And good win, Michael.
Good to speak to you. Look forward to seeing more of you soon.
Thanks, guys.
And that leaves you with Michael Gudger. Do try to talk a little bit about the race as well, because this is probably the happiest you're going to get, Lucas.
Welcome, Michael Gudger, the race winner here at Dover Motor Speedway. Talk us through how you were able to have so much pace today, how you were able to play that fuel/tire strategy, how you're able to manage your tires, manage the fuel, and bring that 64 machine home to a win.
I don't know, this another one of those fuel saving out from the offset, which makes 4 straight fuel saving races. But yeah, we're finally starting to hit our stride here mid-season. Definitely glad to get a win, and dominant win at that, led all but one. And I am so sad I did not lead that one singular lap. But great race today. The fuel strategy, the tire strategy, man, those tires were just felt like the right front was cording after like 20 laps. But fuel strategy was very interesting from the start, and on that final run, it was just like with Cody breathing down my neck. It was like trying to fuel save enough to make it, but also trying to stay in front of him, and it was just all over the place.
Yeah, and of course, with you winning this race and Zane Bailey falling to misfortune of the Joshua Burke in that 24 machine, I believe you will take the championship lead in the point standing. So how does that feel?
Great. I went into this race, and I was terrible at Dover, and I was winning this race, and I was like, I just want to win. I just want to beat Zane and try to get some points, and I went out here and won it, and that was very nice.
Another question I want to ask you is, I saw on your pit board that you have the Weezer Blue Album reference. My favorite band is Weezer, so I was going to ask you what your favorite album by them is.
Oh, I was not expecting a question about my pit board. I don't know, the Weezer Blue Album is the main one that I listen to. I don't know.
Nice. And then my final question, of course, will be, do you have anyone that you'd like to thank or shout out this win to?
Cody Gibson for just racing clean, and Zane for just helping out as always.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us.
Thank you.
All right, I'll send it back to you, Howie, to throw us out and, wrap up this really, really chaotic race that we had here today.
Dover always impresses. I'm amazed you didn't bump into Dover before today. It's an absolute joy. I love this place, and you're just seeing a good part of why. It's got every little bit of strategy, every little bit of fuel, every little bit of tires, every little bit of the whole lot, and it's such an impossible challenge. Of course, that'll be the end of racing for tonight, but there's still plenty to see on the channel, including the For the Boys League. And if you thought these cars were crazy, check out Unrestricted Cars of Tomorrow around Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It will start a similar time that today did, but make it tomorrow. That's your Sunday night sorted, among all the other racing in real life, but of course. And of course, the season finale of the High Tide Racing Series at Homestead Miami Speedway. There's basically no better track in the world to put a season finale at, let me tell you that. Every two should do it. Just put them on the Speedway. Put F1 on the Speedway. Just get them going. Season finale. Make it happen. Who knows? Who knows? Still lots to see on this channel, of course, and of course the Indy 500 from earlier today. I'm going to shout it out because it's a long, long race and it took all of our energy under the sun. So, quite frankly, it's worth you just coming in to visit anyway. Trust me on that. But that's it for tonight's racing of this league, and big thanks to everyone in the league that makes it possible, everyone at Greenback TV that makes this possible as well. And of course, from us in the booth, I've been Howie Burrows alongside Lucas Moody. Finally got that graphic working just in time. Wishing you thank you very much for watching. Wishing you the absolute best.